Welcome along to South Today's Sport. The ANZ Championship concluded at the weekend with the Thunderbirds winning over the Firebirds by a couple of points. For some expert opinion on that match and looking ahead to the future, of course, Robin Broughton, the coach of the Pulse. Good evening, Robin. Welcome back to the South.
Hi, Tom.
Back settled in after a very hectic
well
season.
Well settled in. Yeah, I've been taking my school team again, and yeah, things just go back to normal. Slides in quite easily.
Is that a big adjustment for you, coming back to teach the school kids the basics?
It is. It is hugely different. I do say to them, I'm not talking about anything else other than netball. Like, whatever I say doesn't mean it's personally against you. It's really I want these skills fixed up, because I think a lot of coaches are forgetting about the basic skills, and unless you've got the basic skills right, by the time you get them at the elite level, when you have to spend time on a basic thing, like catching on the back foot instead of on the front, or not turning properly or something, it takes a long time to break habits. So good if you can get the right habits early. And
Virgin competitive this year?
Yeah, they look good. They haven't had a lot of success at the moment, but no, it's there. They'll be fine.
Okay. All right, let's go back to the weekend match. Thunderbirds were favourites, but they were pushed all the way.
Yeah, I would have thought they might have won by more. I was quite surprised, but they were pushed, and it was a very competitive game in that sense. That came and went in waves. They'd get on a roll, and you'd think, right, they're going to put their foot down now, and then they'd make a silly error. Like, there were sort of shooting errors that should never have been made, and just basic stuff again, like I say, under pressure, I suppose, and 9,000 people there supporting, and you could see that it wasn't just as easy as all that out there.
And the Firebirds always behind, but chasing hard, 7 points behind at one stage, but never gave up.
They never do, and they're good at coming back, and I always think in the second half they play better than the first half. So, and they do use their bench quite wisely for Jane Woodlands to put on the wing attack, to take the wing attack off and swap her in. There was a big call, but she did a really good job, the one she brought on, so she must have known that she was capable of it. But it's hard to come in at that level, at that inferno, like it's a high level and lots of pressure and whatever, and I thought that they did well with that. It's always difficult with the high ball going in constantly. It can be disheartening for D's. They've got to keep mentally alert. They've got to keep thinking, even if I just get a tip, it's enough. But, the height difference, and both of them can jump, makes a huge difference. So, yeah, I thought the Thunderbirds did come back. I think they deserved the win. I think they've played pretty well all season. They've kept their heads. They don't panic. There's not a lot of that goes on the court. So.
You can never sum things up just with shooting stats, but theirs were poorer than the Firebirds, so they obviously put up more shots, had more ball to play with.
Yeah. What we found, or I've always said, Barago comes out of the circle, the opposition team, so it's us, we like that, because her passing is sometimes absolutely unbelievable. Like, there was one time in that grand final that she just tossed the ball into space, into nowhere. She doesn't seem to be able to balance, think, take the ball and put it in the right place. So she came out too often, and I thought, I think you should be keeping her in. And then you saw she came back in the second half, she hardly came out at all. So, did make a difference.
And they named Darren Bell the player of the game. Did you think that was fair?
No, I didn't really. I thought she took a long time to get into the game. I thought that her shooting was pretty circumspect at times. I'm not sure of her final percentage. But
it wasn't extraordinarily high.
No, she gets the nod in lots of those instances. I watched her play against New Zealand last year, and she just crumbled under our defence. But she's got a lot better, and she was trying to take the pressure off Barago, I suppose. But I don't know who I would have called the player of the match. It's a big call, that one.
And it is hard for the team that finished fourth to go all the way. They're always playing away. Firebirds do well. Magic have done it, but it's not an easy task, is it?
No, it's not. It's not an easy task. So Firebirds, I thought, they're very rugged, very, very rugged. They're constantly on your body. They play hard on man-to-man. They just run with you relentlessly. So it does wear teams down. But I thought they got a bit reckless with the high pass into Romelda. At times, I thought they're usually pretty careful with those, but there were some that went right out the back.
And we were talking to Wendy Frew last week about the physical nature of the game isn't talked about as much, but that final had a few bumps and bruises.
We should talk about the physical nature of the game, because it's becoming appalling. It's taking a toll on players, and I think taking away from the skill of the game. And I don't know what's going to happen about it, because it's supposed to be a non-contact sport, but it actually isn't. So just take that out of the rule book. It's supposed to be equal possession, and that in itself isn't good. I hear the commentators encouraging the physical nature. Oh, this is good, the physical nature is really good of this game. But is it good to watch? Is it good that we can't do the pass on the run and catch on the run? A lot of it's gone out of it.
Without someone putting the
banging
shoulder
out
in.
of hands, and it is so fast and so speedy, and in fact it looks a lot slower on television, I notice. That you don't even see possession being knocked away, or just things, or the offsides, or the constant breaking. All of it needs a tidy up, I think, because it's such a spectacle, good netball, and I think those girls are incredibly good sportswomen, you know, good builds, good body builds, strength and conditioning stuff has made them really ready for anything, and their speed is good. Like, it doesn't need to be a constant stop and start with contact.
Announcement today from Natalie Van Budush. She's now retiring from all netball. Big blow to Australia.
Oh, yeah. I think she's lovely. I think she's a lovely player, and not only that, she's a lovely person. She's a good sports person. Sportsmanship's great. You know, I've had a bit to do with when we travelled there, you know, just her general demeanour with other teams, and, you know, she always greets you and talks to you and whatever, and she is an ambassador for netball. So yeah, they'll miss her. I think she's a great centre, good thinking player, doesn't make many mistakes, but she has been plagued with injuries.
And that's why she's saying she's stepping down, can't contribute like she'd like to, and that's fair enough, isn't it?
And she would be really honest about that. Like, some would probably try and hide it away, but no, I don't think she's the sort of person that would do that. She often has hand injuries too, which is quite painful if you get your thumb or your fingers, you know, out of sorts.
All right, we have to look ahead to next year. If one more person asks me what Robin Broughton's doing, I'll scream, but I said I would pass it on. At this stage, are you in a position to make any kind of statement?
Oh, I'm not really. We're just solidifying everything at the moment. But I will say that I am going to coach. Like, I do like coaching, and I don't really want to give up coaching. So, in what capacity, we'll just have to wait and see. But maybe I should spend my time teaching basic skills because I'm constantly grizzling when they haven't got them.
Even at that level?
Yeah, I do. I get cross because, as I say, if you come in at an elite level, it's not being recognised early enough that there is a deficiency in the carrying out of the skills. So by the time you get it to this level, you know, it's really hard to change that skill learning part of your brain to say, hey, you're doing the wrong thing, and then they're looking at me, who says I'm doing it? Nobody else has told me that.
Right, yeah, I was going to say, is it an easy sell to a player that's so-called established?
Oh, well, I'm determined it's right. I can tell. I mean, I just know. I just can see when it's right or wrong, and I can't stand drop balls and things like that. Well, you know, just even the simple things, turning in the air, landing properly, footwork skills, just all of that.
How do you get through, though, without learning those? Do you just natural talent gets them through, do you think? And some.
Well, I don't think that probably at the lower levels that it's starting off properly or something. Like, I am, quite frankly, quite concerned about it when I watch netball, because, you know, I can go and watch junior rep games and things, and there's lots of enthusiasm and energy and things, but how that won't get you through at the end at the top level. That won't get you through to be a Donna Wilkins or a Liana Leota or something, you know, or these top players. And even the top players can have things that you would like to fix up.
And just finally, on the competition itself, we're always talking about the gaps between two Australian teams in the final. Have we got closer in the last few years? As a country?
Yeah, until we have a go, I suppose, double rounds, because of course we only played the Australian teams once. I probably think that it was most disappointing for us this year, the Central Pulse, in that, you know, like, we lost one game to Mystics and they never won another game, and a lot of that was to do, probably we didn't play well and we should have just got above it, but it was doing the wrong thing at the wrong time and umpiring calls that weren't good for us, and you know, I can see it all when we break it all down. So those sort of things are really important. We need to take a step back and look at how the game's being ruled, and if we need to make changes to the rules, then we should do it now. For instance, I think that to stand beside the post and shoot is only worth 1 point, but if you're standing right out at the edge of the circle, then I think you deserve more, because the skill of shooting from the edge of the circle and getting it in is a skill.
Yeah, I think it would be a terrific change. It'd make the game exciting. I mean,
Exactly.
catching up would become a bit easier if you're prepared to take risks.
Yes, exactly. So
Excellent.
there's lots of things that could make the game, maybe a third umpire. I'm not criticising the umpires actually, because it's really hard now. If I sit there all my life watching fast netball, I wouldn't like to be out there with the whistle, but it's really hard for them, and that's why I think they should simplify it a bit. And it's big girls now on a small court.
Okay. Robin, thank you very much for joining us. We'll talk to you, of course, in the future, and all the best with wherever you coach.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
That's the South Today tonight. See you tomorrow.